Okay, in this exercise what we are looking at is HTML editing, and I have given you a structure here. This is the layout that we expect to do in Web Plus or Word, right? And you can see we have a title called Web Authoring there, H2, and then its color code is given. It should be bold, and it's the title Web Authoring. Right now you can see the paragraph, and in the paragraph an HTML that's basically a text which is hyperlinked to w3schools.com. We can hyperlink to any website, and then we have a part of the text in the paragraph which is underlined and also italic and also bold. Then we have the image below the paragraph, and a suitable image with a width of 100 pixels and a height of 150 pixels, and an alternative text which describes the image. For example, my image. Now you know that alternative text is it appears when the image link is broken. So instead of the image, alt will be appearing, and also alt will be used by search engines to update its database. So that's the image. Then comes the table, which is a 2-column and 3-row table, and we want it borderless. Cell padding 5px and cell spacing 5x. Now cell padding is the gap between the content and the border of the cell of a cell in the table, and cell spacing is the gap between two cells. Now when it comes to cell padding, there are 4: left, right, top, bottom. Alright, so here we have opened Web Plus. Remember, you can do the same thing in Word. So here of course I am taking Web Plus, and you go to appearance, you right click on the page properties, and appearance 1300 by 620, that's our size, which fits onto 10036668 resolution. Word users, you also do the same thing. This applies to both Word and Web Plus. See, the main highlight is extracting the HTML, right? Okay, now it's a text box, text frame, and we type Web Authoring there, which is going to be H2. So highlight it. It's okay to increase the size, font size, but we need to ultimately set it to heading 1. So you go to text styles, but before you go to text styles, make sure Web Plus users, you go to view tabs and set it to default workspace before you start working on Web Plus. So you go to text styles and select heading 1. Before that, select default paragraph and body and make it like, you know, default. And select H2. Actually we wanted H2 here, so select H2, which is heading 2. Right now it is heading 2 and it's bold. Okay, now we should apply a color. So the text color, drop down text color and go to more colors and apply the color coding, which is AA36 CE. Okay, a purple color. Okay, so it's H2, color is applied, and also it's bold. Right now, to extract the code, to get some text for the paragraph. So here you can see we are taking the paragraph from a document. Okay, so here's a paragraph. Actually, there are two paragraphs here. So highlight, copy, Control C, copy. Take a text frame, and when you're pasting, go to Edit, Advanced Paste, and paste as unformatted text. This applies to Word as well. In Word also you can paste it as unformatted text, so that you don't need to take this to Notepad and bring it back here. Just paste as unformatted text. So all the formattings will be gone, all the hyperlinks and everything will be gone if they had copied it from internet. Right now this should be set to paragraph. So highlight and select body and default paragraph font from text styles. Zoom in. Now a part of the text must be hyperlinked. So highlight that text, and you can press Control K to insert hyperlink, or else you can go to insert hyperlink, or else you can click on that icon here on the left corner, the toolbox. So Control K is a shortcut to create a hyperlink, right? Okay, so if you go to site page, it's a page within the website. We don't have any pages now other than home. If you go to internet page, it will be an external hyperlink, external URL, and here we need to link it to w3schools.com. so remember, HTTP must be there and www should be there, dot should be there. So you link it, and that link icon appears, and then is italic. Part of the text is italic now, and then we need to bold part of the text. Okay, we underlined it as well. Now to bold, highlight, and okay, we wanted the underline, italic and bold separately, right? Okay, next is the image. Go to quick build and take the picture frame and select the picture. I'll take this picture. You can resize the picture, but here we are going to give a dimension, a width and a height. So you can see on the right corner in the pane there, we have the width and the height under transform, right? There goes width and height, and this icon shows aspect ratio. Now aspect ratio is the proportion between the width and height. Normally when we enlarge a photograph, we maintain the aspect ratio. That means we proportionally increase the height and width, increase or decrease. So if you have locked it, they will increase according to the other value. So you need to click first and unlock it, because here we are giving our own values, 150 and 100. So I exchange the values because this image is in landscape. So I gave width as 150 and height as 100. Okay. Right now, if you double click on the image or right click and go to properties of it, you can add the alt tag there. There is a tab called alt and title. You can edit there. And this is me. Okay, that's not me, by the way, one of my ancestors. Okay, so you put the alt tag, right? So alt tag is important to describe the image which will appear if the image is not visible. I think I mentioned that earlier. Okay, now we have the home page. We are going to add the background color. You can see we went to the background and dropped down the use page background. And remember, you need to select the background color, not on page color, right? I'm talking about the Web Plus users, right? And that's the code we are adding. Word users, you can go to background color under page design. Remember to add the background color. You will be using a table, word users, but don't add the background color to the table, but add it to the page as the page color. Right now here you can see we are taking a table, and there are a lot of table formats, styles are there. I'm assigning the number of rows and columns there. Right, there you go. We have got a table without any borders, but you can see the cells, and right now you can see I'm adding some text to each cell. There are 9 cells here because we have 2 rows, 2 columns and 3 rows. Sorry, 6 cells. Right, but they don't have any border, right? So that's the table. So tables are used to display tabular data and organize data into tables. Okay, right now you see we're adding a line color, but it will go as a style, not really as a border. So let's see how we can add the border later on in the HTML, not really in the CSS, right? So all these settings, if you edit the table, go as CSS styles. So let's not change any CSS here. Let's do it later on in the HTML. Okay, so looks like we have taken everything. We have got the layout done. Cell padding also, we'll include that in an HTML later on in the browser. Alright, so I think we are ready to check this or preview this in the browser. We are selecting Chrome as the browser. If you are an X6 user, you need to select preview the site in browser. Okay, now you see the page is appearing fine. Okay, you have the web authoring, the title is there. Let's right click and inspect it to see whether we have got the correct HTML element there. There you go, you can see H2 and it is added with a class which is CSS and it is H2, so we have got it right. But you don't see the color of it because the color is applied through the CSS as well as the bold embolding. You can see two classes are there. So if you right click on H2, you can go to the edit HTML option where you can edit the HTML on the browser, but remember this does not change the actual code. This is just on the browser, and there I can simply remove the class, can remove the span as well. Even if you change the class name, it would be fine, because then it will be pointing to a wrong class, or else simply erase that part. Okay, so what we are adding now is the strong tag, which will embolden it. So a strong opening tag and the closing tag, you can see. So the web authoring is going to be in bold text style. Right now you can see the H2 is edited with HTML strong, because earlier the bold was added using a CSS and even the color, but here it does not change the color. Okay, now you can see the HTML attribute and the element of font color. So font color, it goes as font color equals so and so. Within double quotes you give the color code with the hashtag. So remember, color is an attribute of the font element there. AA36 CE. It's not case sensitive, the color code. It's not case sensitive. Okay, type it, and then you need to finish the font element. You need to put the closing tag of font element. Right, that's how you do it in HTML. So what we actually did was we removed the styling, the CSS, and then we did it using HTML, right? And if you want to set the size of the font, you can have the element which is called size, which comes under font size. It's an attribute. Font size equals and you know there are different units. So here you can see the use of points. We also have pixels. We also have EM, which is how many times the default font used by the browser. That's EM, 2 EM, 1.5 EM, like that. Right, and what you can see right now is trying to add a particular font, but it's a mistake. We don't use font family in HTML, that's why you're not seeing the change. In a moment you will see it's being corrected. So family doesn't work with HTML, family works with CSS. So family is not going to work, font family is not going to work. It takes a while for me to understand that, remember that actually, because normally you don't specify the font color, font size and font type in in HTML. It's now outdated. Because the styling is now done using CSS. You can see I'm trying out various methods, but not succeeding. And I have to tell you that this is a dubbing. The video and the audio is not done in real time, so that's why I can see the mistake I did during the live recording. It should be changed to font face, not family. Now you will see we're using the font face attribute. Font is the element, face is the attribute. Okay, so we are specifying Verdana as the font face, and you can see the change. There you go. Immediately the font type changes. Right. What's next? Let's look at the hyperlink. Let's right click. Let's right click on the text which is hyperlinked, inspect, select inspect, and you can see it gets highlighted at ahref and the URL, the external URL is there. And we also have target equals underscore blank. What it does is it will open up this page in a new window. It will open up in a new window. Right, we didn't really set the target window when we were designing. You can see that when you drop it down, the target window frame, and we have several options, such as same window, new window, so and so. But I think by default it has new window. There you go. When you select new window, you can see the underscore blank. So remember, target equals underscore blank is how you use HTML code to open in a new page. Target equals underscore blank. There are other types as well, like target equals dot underscore self and so and so. Right, I think now we are extracting the code to HTML, Word from HTML. Yeah, you right click on the heading 2 and right click and then select copy outer HTML, and you can see the HTML can be copied to the new Word document. Otherwise you will have to take a screenshot of that area like that, just exactly like that. Well, there you go, that's the text and the HTML coding. Right, see, so you can see the paragraph now, P class body. So we right clicked on the paragraph and there's a style again applied. So just look at the text, right, how it starts, the text that is at the beginning, because there can be unnecessary paragraphs as well. Yeah, copy out HTML. Right, so that's the hyperlink to the website. You copy the hyperlink to the website, the HTML code for the website. And now we are right clicking on the underlined text. Right, as you can see there, you don't see the HTML, instead you see a class again. So what we can do is we can edit that HTML to get rid of the class added automatically. Right, so there are classes, so it's added by CSS. Let's see what we can do here. Right, edit HTML code, and we are removing the classes. And underline is there, underline is put with U. Okay, now you can see we removed the style. And now we are putting strong for bold. Word users, you will see that B is automatically added. B for bold is automatically added when you apply the bold from the Word document, but Web Plus, it always creates a style, CSS style. Okay, there you go. That is strong. How you make that phrase bold. Now to the image, you can see we are going to extract the image. HTML code. You can see we are going to extract the img alt. This is me, src. That's the source of the image. Right, so that's the image. Copy out HTML. You can see the width and height is added using a style again. So let's cut it off, and we are going to put it as HTML. Right, now you can see how we do the same thing in HTML. We can't use colon and that particular syntax. So the width, where you can see we are going to add width and height to the HTML, but then you use equals and within double quotes, right? Now you can see the table being styled. You can see the table has this table element. You can see a style is applied. and there's a class as well, and a width and height, which is also part of the style, right? Alright, the border is there, but you can see the border is not really appearing there, although we set border to 1. It's coming from a style. And what I did was I removed the class, but this border doesn't apply because they have used classes to individual cells. Right now, if you go to the table, more into the table, you can see okay, I applied the color to the border. So what happened was there was no border color, although the border was there. Now it appears around the table but not inside the table. Now to get the border inside the cell, we'll remove the class from inside the table. Now we can see the TR and TD. TR represents the row, TD represents the cell or the column, right? So each row is divided into 2 columns. That's why you see in TR, inside TR you have 2 TDs, and TD has a class. Now that's what is controlling the border. So if you remove that, just double click and delete, you see the border inside. Okay, same thing with the other cells. So altogether, how many cells you have? You have 2, 4 and 6. So here I am removing all the classes. No need to remove the whole code, just remove the class name. That's sufficient, right? Okay, now you see the borders, and you also get to see the gap between the cells, which is called cell spacing. I don't think this will be necessary in Word. I haven't checked that out, but I have seen when you add the table, it appears as it is with the border and the color. And I don't think they will ask you to edit this far. But in case now this actually happened because we used a table without any borders, right? So in Web Plus, users don't get scared, don't get discouraged. You can always insert a table with borders, a pre-designed table with borders, so that you don't really need to change it here. Now watch this carefully. You can see we are adding cell padding to the whole table. and cell spacing, that's being added to the table element. So it comes inside. Now this is very important, right? This is very important, and even the Word users might have to do this if cell padding is not applied. And you can see right now I'm highlighting the content. It actually looks from the center of the content, this cell padding, because cell padding is the gap between the border and the content. So it refers to the center of the content, right? Now since they have different amount of characters, you don't really see it properly, but you can see it's applying the padding around the content equally, that is 20 px. And you can also see the gap between the cells increased, which is cell spacing, and that is 5 px, and both cell padding and cell spacing was added to the table element. So it goes like table cell padding equals 20, cell spacing equals 5. So you got to do a bit of work. Actually, in the exam, I don't think you will have to do this completely. I just wanted to show you how cell padding and cell spacing work, and also how to do a bit of editing on the browser. Now you see I'm increasing the cell spacing. See what happens. Okay, it's back to 5. It was changed earlier. So if you can get the border in design, and when you check the HTML coding in the browser, and if you have cell padding and cell spacing, fine, that's fine. That means you have got it. In case if you don't have, you might need to type like this. Okay, now what I'm doing is I'm adding a background color to the table. How do you do that? It's the same attribute that you use with the body, right? So you put table bg color. BG color, that's the HTML attribute for background color. And now you can see we are copying the code, HTML code. So the background color was added using BG color. I put BG color equals yellow, and it was added to the table element. Right. Now if I did that in Web Plus editing mode, it will always apply a CSS rule for this background color, but that is not HTML. So that's why I came to the browser and edited the HTML code there. Now you can see the body element is having the background, but that is added using a style. That is not HTML. So if you are using HTML, how do you put it? You put BG color. I think I might do that. Oh yes. So what you can do is in the Web Plus users, what you do is you remove that, you cut that color code, remove the background property from style, and put it as BG color. So the BG color attribute applies to, can be applied to anything, right? Right, just paste that color. So body BG color. Now that is HTML. Now if you are using Word, you might not need to do that, but it depends. It depends. Even Word is using a lot of CSS. So you got to be safe. You know, when they're asking HTML editing, you can't be just showing CSS, isn't it? But in certain areas, like when especially like if you want to change the text color, in certain areas if you really can't use HTML, and if it is time consuming, I would suggest that you use a CSS style and put a small note there to justify your work, right? But mostly I think they are expecting HTML. Okay, that is body HTML coding, body BG color and the color code, and there's a style. And you saw the closing tag of body. Alright, so I think we have done everything, we have finished everything, and if you have any questions, please feel free to comment, put a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and put a like to this if it was useful to you, and just go through the chapter as well and the chapter questions, and hope you learned something. Bye.